Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live via the International Public Radio here on the United Public Radio Network 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. This evening's segment and every evening segment is fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee. So thank you. I'm getting some feedback.
Sorry, that's me. It never fails. I put it on
Okay.
pause and it still plays.
Okay, great.
Gotta love you, YouTube.
Tonight we welcome for the very first time Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, who is well versed in everything from the paranormal, cryptozoology, ufology, folklore, you name it, this lady knows it. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun this evening. In order to participate in tonight's show, however, please head on over to the International Public Radio YouTube channel. That's the only chat where we can actually right back. So tag Amelia. Everything else, we are on News on the Flip Side. We are on UFO Paranormal Twitch. We are on the Outer Realm Facebook, Joe Montel, the UFO Undercover Facebook, UFO Paranormal Network Facebook, International Community for Alien Research. And I believe we are on Twitter as well. So with that being said, Did I say that? I'm just out of breath now. Anyway, I know it's terrible. So our guest is waiting. Do you want to go over the bio and then I will slide this lovely lady in?
Yes,
thank you.
We're actually running on good time tonight, which is really exciting. Tonight's guest is making her first appearance on the Outer Realm. Dr. Kimberly McGeorge is an international renowned naturopathic doctor, energy healer, remote viewer, and paranormal expert, as well as consciousness teacher, working internationally for the past 25 years. She is on thousands of people. She was born with the ability to remote view, see people's auras, and is highly intuitive. So please help us welcome the incredible Dr. Kimberly McGeorge to the Outer Realm.
And here we are. Yay. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
That worked.
I'm like, why still got all these pictures up there?
I know. That wasn't me.
The pictures. Okay.
I'm pretty sure she's not a tree.
It was not me. I'm looking around going, what did I touch? Something I'm probably not supposed to.
I'm innocent here because I can't even reach my computer right now.
Oh, Zachman's here. Hey, Zachman. Zachman is recovering
hope you're
from
feeling
COVID,
better, dude.
So, yeah, hope you're feeling better. Thank you for being a chat,
Hi,
Jeannie.
Jeannie.
Excellent. So, how are you?
I'm really good. You ladies are so sharp. I don't know. This is like high level company. I'm not sure I'm worthy to hang.
Oh, trust me, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Level here. I got to raise my game. Got to wake up.
Oh, that's okay. We're so laid back. It's not even funny. This is total round table. It's a lot of fun. It's very relaxed. So
it's a conversation, right? We don't want to drill you. It's just a conversation. Yeah.
We let you go at your own pace. Nice and easy.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Perfect. So I'd like to start off the way, I do with everyone. It's just, getting to know you and having our listeners get to know you. So why don't we get into humble beginnings a little bit? How'd you start and what got you into all of this stuff? It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. It's a long and winding road with many components, as you girls know. It's not always a straight shot, from there to here. Born, I would say, fairly high level natural abilities into a very religious family that did not acknowledge any abilities. As a matter of fact, my dad's a pastor, of course. I mean, you guys have heard this story a million times, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
So could it have been
is this a rebellious thing?
Exactly. Always felt like the, black sheep, always felt kind of outside. And I didn't used to believe in past lives, but I think I should have because I always say I was born like in this mind, which my kids might tell you I'm kind of childish anyway, but I had an adult mind, like even in the baby body. So for me, childhood was like, it was painful. It's excruciating to have a full adult mind and be fully aware but be stuck, not being able to walk, not being able to move, being hauled around, to the doctor and the grocery store. And I'm like, what has happened here? Something is very, very wrong. So that was my first hint that I might be really different, because I'm like, I would ask my brother, he was like young, and I'm like, do you feel weird? Do you feel like you're not supposed to be here? Do you feel like you're not supposed to be in your body? And he looked at me like I had like 3 heads. So that was kind of my start. I saw a lot of spirits. I saw auras and colors around people. I only had like out of body experiences, oddly enough, when I would take naps. I guess maybe I felt safe or I felt bored, and the ceiling would open up and it would be like the multiverse, and there would be like gates and portals and stargates and different beings standing by them, and I would go. It was very interesting. Yeah. So all that. But of course, you go to school. I went to school outside of Chicago. And I am like, oh, wow, one of these things is not like the other. And it's me still again,
Something's wrong.
So, again, with my adult mind, we're learning ABCs. And I'm like, what is this place? Get me out of here, So I would draw trees all the time. I don't know why. Now I live in the middle of a forest, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I would just sit in class and draw trees. But I learned to just be really, really, really inward and really quiet.
Right.
And so I was like that until college. And I think I had the courage to start showing more of myself because I was away from my family. I was away from high school. I was away from junior high, all the people that, knew me a certain way. So I became very popular in, does he like me? Does she like me? Are they cheating? Are they going to ask me to marry? All the stupid college things. We're all obsessed with like love and sex and relationships. I got a little bit of a reputation, and I honestly don't. I'm so old now. I don't remember how this happened, but I got called in on some really weird paranormal cases at the time. Police units across the country in the 80s.
Your cat's photobombing you right now. I love it.
That's actually a very tiny, overgrown dog, but they act like cats. So.
Oh, I know. I don't have my glasses on. I'm so sorry.
I was going to say, what am I missing? There's a cat in there.
Yeah, she's like,
you know what? Glasses are on the head, not on the head.
I'm just like, what am I missing?
So cute.
She's a tiny 1 pound little puppy. But anyway,
what
you'll
breed
see
is
them. She's a Morkie, a Maltese.
That's what I have.
Do you?
Yeah, he's 13. He's under my desk asleep.
Oh, you're the best.
He's 13. Okay. He's under the desk. I find him to have the most amazing personalities ever.
It's funny.
And you can continue to train them. 13 years old, I'm still teaching them new tricks. It's very great and very.
I always say little dogs are like cats. They're a lot like cats. That's funny. You said cats. Yeah, I have a lot of them.
Well, it was because I was blind, just in my own defense. It was because I couldn't see.
I'm trying to let you off the hook there.
Yes.
Please continue.
Sorry. Where was I? Okay, so in the 80s, I think you guys know this, the police departments were just starting to bring to experiment more with psychics and occult crime units, and they were kind of on the down low, and they weren't big budget. So I got pulled into a couple cases because it was in the Fox River Valley, and it was a big occult coven crime area. So I didn't get like any fame, glory, acknowledgement, or pay. But I did end up performing like spontaneous, not knowing what the heck I was doing, exorcisms in some of those cases, which is funny because I've totally even changed my view on all that now. So it's just funny how far we came. So that was kind of my breakout, was in college. And then I kind of in and out of alternative medicine. I worked for a chiropractor, did some radio broadcasting in alternative medicine, and then got married, had kids, kind of settled down into the normal life, but we can't hold our gifts back. So even when I was married, I don't know how this happens. It's like word of mouth. But my kids all had a really high level of psychic abilities. My oldest daughter saw spirits like the ghost whisperer. So she and I would go to house clearings in Ohio a lot together because she kind of was the real sharp. She could see a little better than I could and still can. So you just kind of batted back and forth, got into herbalism and organic gardening, and had a mail order company with my ex-husband, wrote for an herbal column. So kind of got known internationally, in the herbal naturopath world. Eventually opened up 4 clinics in the Columbus, Ohio area. So I had clinical practices as a naturopath. Came out of that and really wasn't doing a lot until I got divorced. And then I kind of went back into the paranormal, worked as a medium for a number of groups. I don't know if you know Shane Pittman on the Holzer Files.
Yes.
I was his medium for his group for a while. So
that's nice. He seems so nice.
He's a sweetheart, he and his wife and his family. He's a real sweetheart.
We've had Alexandra on. She's a sweetie as well.
Yeah. Oh my God. She's dangerous when she comes on. we have so much fun. We forget we're on air and we forget. Yes, but we need to be slapped on the wrist because we can get ripped from FM with our language. So.
Don't follow me into that.
I love that.
Well, that's really nice. Yeah, please go ahead.
My wandering. No. That's just kind of my wandering. Just in and out, kind of combining alternative medicine, going back and forth between the paranormal, alternative medicine. And then I was was engaged to a neurosurgeon at Johns Hopkins. And he's like, and I was working a lot with frequency machines. And he's like, babe, he goes, why don't you just record frequencies with music and then, give that as part of your healing for people. So they have like a personalized frequency track, kind of like homeopathic medicine, but in sound. And I'm like, oh, great idea. So I've been doing that for a long, long time, even though we're not together anymore. I do a lot with frequency. I've created, one of my own apps. I write the software for another app. I've worked on a PEMF frequency device. So I do a lot now with frequency machines, frequency apps in healing. And I apply it though to the paranormal. So we use it to clear houses. We use it to tell, like I did a video, I don't know if you guys saw it on YouTube, about Skinwalker Ranch, and we can scan Skinwalker Ranch and tell what beings are there. I'm like, hey, you guys, I could end this TV show in 5 minutes, and you guys probably could too. Just have me,
just clear the whole joint. Yes.
We don't have to walk around and dig and climb, be attacked.
It wouldn't be as good for ratings.
Exactly. So it's really interesting. I think I'm one of the only person that really has taken the frequency game and taken it into, the cryptid world and the UFO world. I just wrote some panels for ET contact panels. So we're able to scan people. And even if they have no memories of being taken or ET contact, we carry all that stuff in our field.
We do. And,
places, houses, animals, all of that. So you guys know all that. So that's just kind of it's.
I've always done frequency with clients, for healing. Yes. Yeah. For healing, for grounding, for healing, working with mindset, things like that. So I'm really curious to see how you incorporate it in with, let's say, abductees, contactees. I find that really fascinating how you would, how does the frequency work in that respect? That's fascinating.
I'll tell you. So we can, first of all, we can tell if you're being taken. So we can tell if you're being taken at night. We can tell. And of course, we have all this technology a lot of people don't know about. CERN is a lot of a time travel, time freezing, time manipulation, Stargate. I love that, this stuff, technology. And so what a lot of people don't know is not only are you being taken and time's being frozen, you're being memory wiped at night, but your towns sometimes are frozen, your home can be frozen, different areas, your block can be frozen, and they're taking people and groups of people and certain people during the day. So we can tell all this stuff, and it's amazing because some people are terrified by it, but most people are like, oh, that makes so much sense. And so if I scan someone and I say, you have needle marks on your body, and they're like, no, I don't. But then they look and they come back to me and they're like, OMG, OMFG, I found 10 needle marks on my body. So the app is never wrong because you know why? I call myself the lazy psychic. I'm barely psychic anymore. Of course, I use all my abilities, my naturopath, my psychic. You guys do too. You combine your healing and your psychic and all that stuff. But I use all my abilities when I work with a client or I do a scan. But I'm so lazy because the computer can tell you, I could tell you girls 8 hours and never stop talking all this stuff about you. Some you would know and some you wouldn't because some is on the subconscious level, but you're still going to tell me because you're broadcasting all the frequencies.
Right. That's right. We're all energy.
That's it. Everything's frequency, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So So they've let us have this quantum technology. So not only is quantum technology doing harm, but now they've allowed us to have quantum technology, whoever the they is, all the theys, that we can use for healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fascinating. I love frequency. I think it's amazing. People don't realize how it can heal you in so many ways, mentally, physically,
Absolutely.
On so many levels. I think it's just amazing. So we'll back up a bit because you've got lots. So okay, wait a minute, go back. So let's get into psychic abilities.
Okay.
Because that is one thing everybody says, are we all psychic? How can we be psychic? What's a safe way to be psychic? Blah, 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 blah. So stage is yours.
Oh gosh, I feel like I should listen to you guys. I feel like you know as much as I do.
This is all about you.
I know, but
That's right.
Great energy. I'm so excited. This is I feel like we're on Charmed, like the trifecta.
Yeah, we learn from each other, right? Everybody has their strengths and their abilities, and we learn from each other. Yeah. Absolutely.
So beautiful. I'm a little stunned. I'm like, gosh, high level women, powerful women.
It's your party tonight, girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so psychic abilities. It's interesting because, I don't think there's any in this because kind of a radical-ish belief, but not really when you break it down. I don't think there's anything called a human. So I have family members that are in human cloning. They're getting paid to clone humans, and they have been for quite some time. So I know quite a bit about, what I'm allowed to know, what they tell me about, human cloning. So obviously, can have a spirit because they divide and take and fragment our spirits, what I call fire creation spirits or living spirits, which not just people can have, animals have them, trees have them. You guys know, even objects can temporarily or permanently, have them. We can capture them. But a lot of times clones are empty and they so that's one. I don't believe that a clone is necessarily psychic beyond whatever the avatar is able to be programmed to be psychic. And as we know, when we scan people, even me, my pineal gland is not 100% decalcified. So that's a myth, by the way, which I found out by working with thousands of people for many years with this technology. People's pineal glands can be absolutely 100% calcified, and they're psychic as SHIT. Right. So, and you girls know this. So sometimes my chakras are open or closed or messed up, or my meridians aren't flowing right, and I'm depressed, but I can still give you the same exact reading as I can when I'm, open and flowing and whatever. And so people are like, well, what's that about? And again, I think we're all parts of the all, or the eternal consciousness. And then we're representing a point of view as individuality. So can a spirit who is all knowing, all powerful, has all access be, of course we're psychic. We're all psychic. Anybody who has a living fire creation spirit is 100% psychic. It's the connection that differs.
Right. Some people just can't connect. Their antennas are jammed.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yes. The clone thing is fascinating to me. So how does a clone, because I'm gonna go with that conspiracy theory thing for a moment, just because it's probably the one thing that the people can relate to. Cloning is it's not something that people think, oh yeah, did they clone a cow or a lamb 10 years ago? They don't think that it's actually happening with people. So a lot of people in the belief system believe that every living thing has to have an essence, whether it be a tree, a plant, an animal. So how does a cloned individual, is that why we're seeing all this? Again, the theory is this celebrity is a clone. Look at them. They're changing. They're not right. They don't behave the same. There's no emotion. How does one behave without essence, which is your feelings?
Is it close to how one behaves as a drug addict or a meth addict or a cocaine addict?
It's a programming. Clones have pain sensors that they can turn up or down, first of all, and they have emotional pain sensors they can turn up or down. And there's different types of clones. The elite and other groups of people, one of the really popular things they make clones for, of course, is I don't think this is going to really shock anybody, but sex dolls, sex clones, but they're real. Like, as they're not robots, they're not plastic. They're because this is just wetware, you know, and I just have to say, I'll say a disclaimer so you can kind of tell where I'm coming from. I grew up in a Christian, you know, home, but I am not religious at all. I've completely rejected Christianity to the fact that I wouldn't say I believe in God. I believe in source. I believe in the all. So this, you know, we were taught, of course, growing up in Christianity, that God, you know, created the body and it's fearfully and wonderfully made. I work with the body all the time, girls. It doesn't work real well. I hate to tell you, these avatars are not the most. I mean, we get headaches, we have bad PMS, we get cancer, we have diabetes. I mean, these are not the most amazing bodies ever. But that's because they pulled some stuff out. Now I believe, and I never thought I'd be saying this. So if you knew me, you'd be like, who are you? Maybe a walker, I don't know. But but I believe we were made by other groups that had, you know, sophisticated technology, and we're wetware. This is just an avatar. That's why there's no death. We switch avatars or we switch locations. We can be a tree. We can be a planet. We can go join the Palladians. We can become a dog or cat, or there's animals that we don't know. Well, I know about some of them. There's all kinds of other seeded animals on other planets and other realms that we could choose to be, or groups. So the spirit is whatever we choose in free will. So a lot of people are like, this place sucks. Get me out of here. The world sucks. It's going. I'm like, if you're living fire creation and you're all knowing and you're in all dimensions at once and you have an oversoul outside of here, you knew you came here to play the game. You wanted to play this game. So don't whine about it. So I used to think everybody here was captured, but I'm kind of switching recently my belief, because it doesn't make sense, because people say break contracts. Have you guys ever heard the break contract, break agreement thing? They're like, well, break the contract you have with the Greys that are taking you, or break the contract with your satanic occult family, or break the agreement you made with Jehovah's Witness, or whatever you're bound or tied to or corded to. You know, people say just break the agreement and then everything bad goes away. But we find you break these agreements and contracts and everything bad doesn't get away. You're still being taken. You're still waking up with bruises. You're still in my labs. You're still being taken by the military. You're still being abducted by who knows who. You're still seeing Greys in your room. You still have, I mean, I don't know, you guys have probably worked with incubus and succubus, or sexual energies, and you've broken the agreements. You've told the succubus, you know, no. And then we talk about authority in the home. So we teach, or a lot of religious people teach, will take authority. I do think there's something to that, but I've taken complete authority in my home, and my fairies, pixies, they still, my picture's already tilted. They even did it before I went to bed. They still tilt my pictures every night. So how much authority do I have if the fae are coming in and whacking so there's something wrong here. So it makes a lot more sense to me that we came to play, because we are these omniscient. We're the gods and goddesses of the Roman and the Greek mythology, and even further back than that. We've been alive for trillions of years. You probably get a little bored. This probably isn't the first game we've played. It's probably just one of the more complicated games that we played because we agreed to be memory wiped.
Right. Yeah. I know. I always say we're the species with amnesia. You know, we just don't.
That's it.
Yeah. You feel free to use it. I probably ripped it off somebody else somewhere. So pass it around. You know. But
I'm writing that down.
Do you see the comments in Facebook, Amelia, or do you want me to get them?
Sure. Okay.
No. Okay. Because there's. Dave Petrella, the aliens made it difficult for the human body on Earth on purpose. Christina Valtier, if we have an avatar, how does our energy, or how does our spirit get into our avatar? And will the avatar still work without a spirit? I'll let you answer before we move down, because I'm not sure. Amelia, I know she's struggling.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. It's because,
for Facebook. Yeah,
on my head.
Thank you. I'll watch it. That's okay.
How does our spirit get in the avatar? I don't know. There's different theories. Some people think the spirit is manipulated by, well, there's a program called, in the Super Soldier program, called Project Surrogate, which is a whole nother weird train, but it kind of fits in here. It's the military because, well, I don't even want to get into all this, but the super soldiers anyway, you're property of the military. And you're usually not just a super soldier this life. You've probably been a super soldier for hundreds, thousands, tens of years. So the super soldiers are put in what's called Project Surrogate. So the military picks your family. Usually they pick a family. I'm from a military family. They pick a family that can control you.
Right.
So again, it's really hard to listen to people like me if you have a religious program, thickly programmed religious belief, because they brainwash us the exact opposite of everything I'm saying. So people are like, no, that's impossible. It's, I was taught, that God knows us. And again, we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and he knows each hair on my head and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, God's the military. But, so different beings, we can come in too. Again, remember, if you are outside of here, a high dimensional being, a seventh dimension, a fifth dimension, a ninth dimension, a 250 dimension, there's no end to the dimensions. If you're,
it's funny because we're trained to think 3D.
Yeah, we're just starting to accept 5, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, 3D, yeah.
Absolutely, but
then what was that 115th I was on remote viewing 2 months ago? It's like, wait a minute.
Were you really? That's cool.
Where did I go? Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm being sarcastic in a joke. Like you got to wonder, like, I'm going through all these dimensions. There has to be more than 4. This is crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you were talking about multiple dimensions. They're endless.
Right.
There's all
so
kinds.
What was the other question you said? So I believe the spirit can get in. I think you can choose to come in and you can pick the avatar. I think you can be captured by different groups, Dracos, yada, yada, Pleiadians, Actuarians, Mantoids, whoever, and they can, manipulate the military, of course. They have the technology they have, and I work in technology, and I work with billionaires, and I work with big corporations, and I do subcontract work for them. So I have a little eye to that myself, a little in, but the technology they have is just mind-blowing. Like, they're not even... They've always had this technology, and you guys have seen the hieroglyphics with the cell phones and the computers, and they found computers underground in the archaeological
out of place anomalies.
Or are they? Or have we just always had it, and we go through these weird cycles where they make us go back to the cave, and then they make us go back to the Indian cowboy type thing, and then they make it, finally they allow us, and then the civilization crashes and we kind of start all over again. Right. That seems to me to be more the cycle in this game. And that's what I think this is. I think it's a game. Okay, so the second question was about the avatar. What was the other question?
How would it work without a spirit?
How does it? Oh, very easily. Well, I know Bush had a number. Second one had a number of, they have neck implants, and just like on a cell phone. So they have wireless controls where they just control. They literally control them. Like if they do something wrong, they can zap them, they can shut them off, they can shut off their speech. It's just like dial, and it's like,
that is crazy.
And that's 100% fact. Oh, Camp David. You know how the presidents are always going to Camp David? I love this. Yes, I know this because certain people I know have gone there, so I know it's under.
So you don't have to give away all your secrets.
There's a cloning center under Camp David.
2 million people listening. It's okay.
Okay. So when the presidents go to Camp David, I'm always like, oh, new clone. They're not going
guy.
They're going there for like retirement. They're getting thrown in the chipper, new clone.
Wow. Wow, that's insane.
Do we have a Camp David in Canada? Just saying, we're in an election.
Oh, oh my gosh. I think there's the biggest underground military base under Toronto. It like covers like part of Canada and goes way into the US. It covers like
well, it's also attached to a shopping center.
Oh, I believe
there's an actual shopping center underground. So that would make sense as to why they had to build this sub-level street mall that goes from one end of the city. From one end of the city. Yes, right? Like, why do they build that?
People know because it's just things that don't make sense above ground. There are some people who have, through the years, have messaged me and said, okay, when you go here, this just randomly stops. But if you look, like all of a sudden, this subway rail, for example, just seems to was just never used. This whole complex, you can see it goes under. It was just never used. And it's right near the lake, of course. And it's right near.
Course. And there's a lot of underground bases underwater too.
Oh, of course. Well, Lake Ontario, especially, right? So,
I mean, yeah.
Well, the whole city of Toronto, the whole edge border of Toronto touches Lake Ontario.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, wow.
Kate Walker says, I was thinking about it yesterday, what my lesson in life is. I think maybe to learn to accept solitude. Christina said, yeah, well, that's a hard one for some people, Kate. Christina again says, regarding illnesses, I always thought that unresolved emotional wounds will turn into disease if not addressed and resolved at the emotional level first. Is there any truth to this? And thank you.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm going to address the solitude thing, then we'll go to the emotional thing.
Yeah.
Everybody I'm scanning now is testing for at least 4 hours a week in silence and solitude, 10 hours alone in nature. Everybody I scan. Are we getting that? No. Now, why do we need that? That ties into the other, because I believe it's not just this emotional stuff like from our childhood or even from our past lives. The nervous system is screaming on. We need to downregulate the nervous system. So we're all like jangly all the time. And the amount of trauma we see in the field that is just built up and stuck all over the body is like everybody, really every single, at least fire creation spirit or living spirit is like, we are all highly traumatized, even if we don't think we are. Highly, highly traumatized, because number one, most of us haven't dealt with our past life stuff and released and forgiven ourselves, released shame, all of that stuff. Most of us haven't dealt with this life stuff, divorce, relationships, career, childhood, whatever. We haven't dealt with this life stuff. And then all the stuff that's happening at night, we don't even know. We're memory wiped, but our body knows. Right. Our subconscious knows. Right. And so absolutely, we have all these. And then we're not even talking about what I've seen an uptick in, which I get like your lady's perspective on this. I have never seen so many human discarnates in people as I have the last year. Really? I am seeing huge upswing. Entities, energies,
for obvious reasons. Yeah.
And human discarnates, huge amount.
Wow. Yeah. I guess for, obvious reasons, of course, right? People are not in a good place for the most part.
Yeah, maybe they're numb or being numbed by certain choices they're making. I don't know, but it's real interesting. I've been pulling a lot more out of even awake and aware family members, which just boggles my mind. It just seems like it's becoming more common.
Well, I think when people are depressed, or have a lot of anxiety, these things come in and amplify a lot of these emotions. People are grieving. I mean, how many people have lost someone?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, it just puts a bullseye on your back. People just aren't in a good place. And if you're not in a good place in the mindset, it's like you're just opening that door, and there's always something ready to come in. Unfortunately, from what we see, long time. This is pretty much what I've done for 18 years. Is just, yeah. So it's patterns, and you got good old psychokinesis. That's a good thing. Okay. So Zachman says, now I remember Dr. Kim. I met her a few weeks ago on Jason Bland's show, Paranormal Soup. And some racist troll used my name to prank call the show. The troll learned that there's only room for one Zach.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
It's like, oh my God. Okay. So now we go down. Dave Petrella says 10 dimensions directly associated with Earth, 10 dimensions with polarity. So really there's 20. And Kate says, again, absolutely makes sense. I'm very edgy this past year. When I was working from home, I would take a break to lay on the grass for 15 minutes and just breathe. I miss that. I would still do it. Just watch the ticks. That's all.
Oh, yeah. I would, do that.
Oh, God, this year? Yeah. You might want to put a towel on the grass.
Yeah, just watch the ticks.
Let your toes touch it. That's it.
Exactly. So So, all right. So that's actually really interesting. I know we're sort of, bouncing around a lot. I mean, the clone thing, I'm still kind of going, I knew it. So I knew it. Okay. So this is good. So, I mean, you're versed in a lot of different things. What's your favorite thing to do out of everything?
Oh God.
Because there's so much, honestly, Kimberly. I'm just like, where do we start?
I mean, I have to say my favorite thing is frequency. I just had a client, one of my clients tonight, her husband's in the hospital, and she's like, the doctors are thinking this, and I think he has Alzheimer's. And I ran him like through my app for like 3 minutes. I'm like, no, freeze, rewind. I said, I think he has overgrowth of fungus. His liver's shutting down. I think you guys are totally on the wrong track. If you were my client, I work with the liver, I work with the blood sugar, clean up the blood. And I think he's in auto intoxication from the overgrowth of sugar, which releases like alcohol substance. You guys know, like leave a thing of apple juice out in 90-degree heat. You can have some alcohol in a couple days,
Right.
So, that's what happens in the body. And then as soon as I wrote her that, she's like, oh my gosh, she goes, the app is never wrong, which it really isn't, because you're never wrong. Obviously, he knows what's going on with him. His body knows. She's like, he's completely yellow. His liver's in shutdown. His bilirubin's up. I'm like, yeah, that's what's wrong.
I know. It's what I said.
I know. Do you have it here? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're not listening to me.
That's my favorite thing. There's a little bit of me. It's not me being right. It's you being right. And I wish people realized, like, honestly, all answers are within. I know the love and lighters, fluffy bunny people say that, but it's really true. Everybody thinks our memories are in our brain. They're not. They're in our energy field. And that's why it's so accessible to this technology. It doesn't even have to go into your brain. I used to practice quite a bit as a medical intuitive. And I guess I was stupid or something, because I would completely merge with people, crawl around their veins, crawl around their body. I mean, it's a great way to learn anatomy, but it was disgusting and it was exhausting. I mean, can you imagine crawling, because I could go really globally out and kind of generally crawl around the body, or I could like go way into the heart, down into the cells. And so it can get pretty gross in there. And I can become them, so I can think how they think. And later on, I found that this is like an ability they have in the upper dimensions. They can merge with each other. That's how they have such great telepathy, like in the 5th dimension on the ships and stuff. Like they can be on 2 ships and they're like, see that ship, we're broke, gonna attack. They don't even talk. They just have like telepathy, because, there is no time or distance. I mean, that's how we're meeting here. There is no time or distance. It's all now.
When you're talking like extraterrestrial ships.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because they meld with the ship, right? It's just
they meld with the ship, and they meld. They're not completely merged, as in a full merge.
Right.
They're like kind of halfway merged, so they have contact. Right. They can kind of come in and out, so they're not like conjoined twins.
No, but they operate it through the mind. It's not like
they operate it so easy. But right. I mean, and I think some of us have that ability, but we might not say it how I'm saying it. Like I can merge with a tree and see how the tree's feeling. I do merge with my animals. You know how there's animal people that just have animals. Then there's animal people that love their animals. And there's people like me and you that merge with our animals.
Yes.
I answered questions for him.
Exactly. See,
yeah. People are like, I wonder what's wrong with him. I go, well, he's really annoyed by the way you're speaking to him right now. And he just wants to go lay down. And they look at me like I'm losing my mind. And I'm like, I have a deep connection with him. And I'm positive that he has, if not just a portion of my grandfather's soul in him.
I love that.
So it's very easy to understand him, because my grandfather and I, we were so close, and I see characteristics in him that when he's playful that my grandfather used to be with me. So yeah.
How cool is it that your grandpa loved like you enough to come back and be with you? Like,
more than once. He passed away 8 years ago. Yeah.
So when he growls at you, you have to say, Grandpa, stop it.
Yeah, that's the inner like animal coming out in him. He doesn't do it anymore, because I go, I just love you, because he's 13, so he's grumpy. But so was my grandfather. And Jessica's like agreeing with me in the chat room. Jessica's my niece. It's just, he's just, yeah, there's some, I've never connected this way with a dog, and I've had dogs my whole life, and he's been the greatest connection I've
As
ever
her daughter's
had.
listening going, what?
Yeah, because my daughter's like, wait a minute, that's my dog.
Good. I thought I was a favorite child.
Yeah.
You're telling me I'm up against the dog now?
He's her dog, which is really, it makes it even worse. Because I'm always like, I have a favorite child.
I love it. I love it.
It's not you, honey.
So it is true. We are all affected by frequencies. Animals, especially. I mean, if you look at especially whales and dolphins, and they're really tuned in with frequencies. So when you're dealing with, let's say, again, we're kind of all over the place, but you just get my head going like this. So when you are dealing with, again, ET frequencies, let's talk cryptids for a minute. There's a lot of people, let's just say we'll use Bigfoot for an example because it's the most common. So I'm just going to go with that. Okay, because it's the one, every state's got one, right? Every country's got one. But some people believe that A, they could be ET, B, they just come in and out of, parallel dimensions, portals. So they would be quite affected by frequencies, probably on a whole other, vibration than we are.
Yeah, I've changed a lot of my, again, over the years, until I really got in the last two places I've lived, which are really huge habitation spots. I didn't really come to where I'm kind of settling right now, which I actually think many of these cryptids and fae are in the 3D, like fully, like as much as you and I can see each other, as full as that. Right. However, I believe they're in the upper realm of 3D, closer to 4D. So right. Only the people that have a higher frequency and or have a lot of our abilities have to do with allowance. Is it in our belief, because this is a matrix holographic reality. So where we put our attention and focus is where things happen. So if we aren't in allowance that I have psychic abilities, or if I am not in allowance that there's creatures like Bigfoot or fairies, right. Then I'm not going to see them. Or the chances are very, very low, unless the thing runs me over, that I'm going to see it, even if it's in 3D. I have video that I haven't dug out in a lot of one I came across in the fur. It's a smaller one because, again, we're using these words, Bigfoot and Dogman, which are the two most common cryptids, and the associated variations, as you pointed out, of the names. But, we read in India, in the Vedas, they document thousands of cryptid creatures. And I have pictures actually of.
Oh, yeah, we're going to look at your pictures in a little while.
Okay. Yeah. Many beings that, in North Carolina, we see a lot of these little small furry ones about this big. And then everybody's like, well, those are babies. No, they're not babies, because usually the Bigfoot that have the babies, they hold them out for when you have a relationship with them, they hold them out for you to see. And they're big babies. Like, imagine a 9, 11, 13-foot creature. They're not going to have a little. Their babies are
like a puppy. Yeah, no.
Their babies are like this, and they hold them out. But
right.
But, so again, and I say, if you don't believe in anything, come over to my house for 24 hours. You will leave in your mind. Like I can help people expand their mind. I can help people kind of see through my eyes, and I'm sure you guys can too, until they can see on their own. And so that's why I love having live events, because you guys know this. If you guys are teaching someone or mentoring someone that is it maybe a newbie or a child psychic, and you're trying to help them, they need that bounce. They need to be like, Michelle, Amelia, I saw this. What did you see? Was that right? Am I crazy? And you're like, no, I saw the exact same thing. The woman was standing there. She was wearing a yellow dress. Like, you need that bounce. And you also need that bounce in cryptozoology. A lot of things, we look at a forest and our nervous system's screaming, and our minds are, what's for dinner, and I haven't done the wash, and we're not looking at the detail. Again, that's why we have to go within, quiet down, turn off our nervous system, sit in one place, and start looking. Was there a black spot there before? No, there wasn't. So get out your camera and take it, blow it up. What do you see in that black spot? You see faces. That's pareidoia. No, it's not. You're told it's pareidolia because they don't want you to know about the upper dimensions. They don't want you to know that you're not alone. They don't want you to know that you're the most freaking powerful being on this planet, and you can create your micro reality, and then you can affect the macro reality, and then we can change this whole place and bring it into 4D and get on with our lives.
Wouldn't that be nice? I think that would be like outstanding if we could do that. But you can, I think, as a collective, you can accomplish anything.
But it starts with us. It starts with purification. It starts with doing our shadow work, which I'm sure you guys know. It starts with looking at our home and being like, where's the energy flowing? How much junk do I have here that has frequency or entities or spirits or mold, which is black goo, which is AI. A lot of people don't know mold is AI and living and sentient and like not good. It like brings down the frequency wherever it is.
Wow.
So, I think we have a personal responsibility to kind of do our own work. Then how do we even have the breath and focus? Like if we are depressed, and I've been depressed, if we are anxious, if we are obsessive compulsive, if we can't pay our water bill, how am I going to have the focus to even go out in the woods and connect with any fae or ghost or cryptid?
But that's the thing, right? Did they keep you preoccupied? Some people need to work 2 jobs. Some people overextend themselves. They make it so easy to overextend. And people simply either don't have a choice or don't have the discipline. Maybe it's being aware.
It's all a program after program, the education program, the religion program, the legal program, the food program. Who says you have to eat 3 times a day? Well, the food manufacturers, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least 3 times a day. Who says you have to get married? Well, the state. Who says you have to have 1 million kids? I mean, I'm not saying, again, this is not judgment. This is choice. But is it choice or is it what you've been programmed to do? For example, I was programmed, you go to college, you meet your husband, you have kids, and you just live this really rote life. You go to work, you come home, you save money for your kids to go to college, you go to baseball games, you go to baby showers, you go to funerals, you go to weddings. Like we all do that. And each culture has their own things. I'm not saying that's in every culture, but we have these cultures and everybody does it. Our family's always done it. We're told how to spend our time. We're told how to spend our free time. Our children are told how to spend their free time. And there's no time for introspection or connection, or here's the bigger one, remembering who we are as a soul. We don't even have time to remember, even if we could. And it's very difficult because we're memory wiped multiple times a day. We're uploaded into the mainframe. I always say, go to the Seshi cameras.
Are you saying we live in a frigging matrix? Like a simulation?
Matrix 4 is coming out. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Well, I'm down for that, but shit, really? I feel like Truman.
Absolutely. We live in a simulation. And you know what? I could even blow your mind further. I'm actually on the second class.
You're doing a great job.
Well, not your mind, but maybe someone's mind. I'm doing my second class on the difference between Sims, clones, and reals or fire creation spirits. So then we haven't even talked about the people in your life that are simulation. They're not clones. They're not real. When you are out of their sight, they cease to exist. A lot of these are what we call filler positions. So I'll give you an example. So let's say there's 70 towns in the state of Ohio that have 1,000 people in them. Each of those towns is going to have like a postmaster, a little post office, right? So of course you have to have somebody run your post office. You could go to those 70 post offices and there's only, well, I believe we're at the end of the age. I believe the game's either winding down or going into the next version, hopefully, which is 4D. But either way, this version of the game is ending. So they've taken out everyone except the most powerful fire creation spirits. The most high value asset players are left because we're holding up the matrix. Only fire creation can create. Only fire creation can hold up anything, any game, any planet, any realm, any parallel timeline. So that's why they're always using us, feeding off us, taking us for body parts, sex, energy, all of that. But the Sims, only 1 out of about every 10 people is real. And this includes people in your family. A lot of you have handlers in your family. A lot of you have simulations in your family. A lot of you have clones in your family. Now,
how do you know which is which?
Well, that's the scary thing, which is always why I say, if you knew what my app could do, you'd never let me use it on you. The app can tell. Why? Because the app can read frequency. A Draco in a body vibrates differently from and there is no human. where's the human race? There is no human race. We're all from, my most recent race was cetacean, the dolphin, whale. It's funny, mermaid.
Right.
That was my most, I don't know if you guys know your soul races,
Okay.
but
No.
again, they have to tell you. If you
I'd love to. I'm probably a big Draco because I'm volatile, I'm told.
And a lot of us are.
Bubbles is a dolphin. She's got the squeaky voice and she's little. So
I can turn that voice around though. Just saying. It goes up and down. When I get excited, it gets very squeaky. I never stopped to think of that, so I don't know.
But you guys have heard of the game The Sims. They tell us
yes. We're very familiar with it.
Like that. They have these people and you know who they are. If you actually do know who you are. They're the people that you have a conversation with, and they wouldn't even forget talking about Bigfoot or ghosts. They won't even go deeper than, I'll give you an example. My grandmother was, she wasn't even a clone. She was a Sims. We found her diaries. She had like 60 diaries when she passed at 85. Wow. Here's an example of her diary. I'll pretty much tell you what all 60 diaries said. I'll just give you a day of my grandmother's diaries. The weather was cloudy today. 2 of my grandchildren are coming over. I made apple pie. We worked in the garden and we went to bed at 9 o'clock.
So there's no depth.
And even if you talk to my grandmother, like you couldn't, like there's nothing there. Like she wouldn't even be like, what do you think about people cheating on their spouses? Now it's interesting. Let me get back to the Seshi. So the Seshi cameras in the sun simulator, you can see the wings of the ship. That's where one of the computer systems and entity beings runs part of the matrix. The other is in the moon base, where they use really old, really dangerous, kind of like nuclear-ish, sluggish technology, and they run it also off of there. That's why you're so influenced by the moon. Full moon, you're going to be more influenced by the matrix. Yes. I'm telling you, if you guys want to be like, remember, do your projects, start a book, like do anything like creative or like it takes a lot of energy, you do it when there's no moon to half moon. Because otherwise the matrix is going to start creeping in there, putting pressure and manipulating and programming. And that's why people go so crazy under the full moon. They're not going crazy. The matrix is igniting their programming because a lot of us are my lab, super soldiers, secret space, and they're igniting programming because they don't want us to remember. And they definitely, I mean, one of my pictures shows you what happens when you remember. You can talk about it. You get followed around by men in black and Dracos, which is so much fun. But yeah.
Sure. Let's go with that. So,
yeah. Would it be safe to say that most leaders are cloned?
Most
leaders.
Yeah. And it's not that there's not an original, but they keep originals for gameplay, like feature in the game. Like a lot of people, I don't know if you've heard the JFK conspiracy theory. Yeah. I talked on the voice to voice with a man claiming, I don't know, I haven't gone deep down that road. I don't know if I want to know, claiming to be JFK Jr. So they play these games, you know, where they kill, they hide. I think, have you guys heard, I think Robert and John Kennedy's sister, who supposedly died when she was an infant, just revealed herself. I was just hearing about that from some of my friends today. And she said they kept her in hiding to bring her out for the last days, if you want to talk about the Revelation script. The last days of the game.
We shall. Wow. So they kept her hidden, or was she just a clone that they...
And either way, I mean, they do all of that. I mean, I know for a fact from my sources that Biden, obviously, his clone is just horrible programming. He can't hold it together. I think he has been played by some actors. They've showed masks. I think you guys have probably seen some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Mask, you know, thing. But
our prime minister too.
Are these theories though? I'm having a hard time swallowing this because I feel like I'm the only one in this room who's not getting it.
No, they're not theories because of the level of access I have, because of who I am, who my family is, who, like my ex-fiance worked in high-level Homeland Security. So I'll give you an example. Guess where my ex-fiance was the night before 9/11? This isn't conspiracy theory. This is fact. He was in, I forget which building. I could look it up. But GE had a bunch of offices in one of the buildings, General Electric. Well, if you've ever watched Stranger Things, you understand GE and the connection to government and, all that. Not good. But anyway, GE had all their mainframes and computer systems in one of those buildings. Well, Homeland Security, U.S. Homeland Security, my ex-fiance being one of the people that worked for them, was in that basement. They were pulling it out, loading it into white vans the night before 9/11. That's not conspiracy.
Okay,
that's fact.
That's an interesting That's an interesting statement you just said to me, because someone has said to us that Homeland Security wasn't created until after 9/11.
Maybe not publicly presented. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I just find that.
No, he told me a lot of details. He was also in, it's really interesting to me because since they've came out and told me, but I knew this, 10 years ago, he was, in the base, Dreamland 51, Area 51. I've known numerous people that have talked that have been in the base personally. Personally known them. And I always say, I don't blame you, Amelia, because I generally tell people, don't believe anything you hear unless you see it with your own eyes, or you would stake your life on the person telling it to you, meaning you trust them so much you would die if you were wrong for believing them. That's what I usually tell people.
No, I don't discard any conspiracy theories, because every theory is based on some validity, some truth. It's not there because it's just fun to write about. I'm just being bombarded by so many of them in my friends group right now. So and they're looking to me for answers and why I don't believe certain things. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. So yeah,
and some are true, some is misinformation, some is complete fantasy, and some is 100% true. And it's hard to sort out. I believe though, and would you agree, Michelle, since you talk a lot about frequency, this is what I teach. Truth has a frequency. Truth has a resonance. Even if you don't want to believe it, even if it has a dissonance and you have this disassociation because it starts triggering you. Sometimes we don't want to believe things because, a lot of people don't want to believe that they're being taken because they're actually having a bodily or emotional or mental trigger rate. And so they get really angry at me, which is why I don't automatically give that in a reading. Like if someone buys a scan from me, I don't tell them, if they don't ask, I'm not going to tell you, you were in the Secret Space program 20 and back, they're going to be like, what?
I'd want to know. Seriously.
I can tell you if you'd like to know.
I would like to know.
Sometime if you want to have me back, we could do live scans, girls.
I would love to.
I think it would be a lot of fun. 100%.
Yeah. It would be a lot of fun. Absolutely.
I'm open to everything. I'm just confused.
No, I love skepticism because I've been wrong about things, but things that I never thought I would let into my reality has really freed me up. I'll give you an example. I was also disassociated and traumatized and weird and angry as like a 3, 4, 5, 6. As actually, when I was 3 years old, my mom's like, "There's something wrong with you," and they always made me feel really evil.
I don't belong here. That's why. I belong on another planet somewhere at the wrong time.
Exactly. But I punched out a kid in preschool. Now that's some anger. I was like 4. That's anger. You have to be angry.
I shouldn't be laughing, but oh my gosh.
But I was so angry inside, you guys. So when I found out that I'd been taken and like age regressed, like it made so much sense. That like F's you up, girls. Can you imagine going and living a whole life on Mars, being a super soldier, doing all these secret projects as an assassin, being in a cyborg body, and then they drop you back like a second after they took you? Like you have memory of that. Even if you don't have conscious memory, your body has memory. Like I told you, we can read it. It's in your energy field. And so of course that's going to screw you up psychologically. They can't undo all that. It follows you around. So for me, learning about the Super Soldier Program, learning about the Secret Space Program, learning about my labs, I felt like free. I'm like, oh, I wasn't a sociopath. I was a super soldier. Not that
that's sweet, right?
Yeah. Well, she's on it. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of the almost all the super soldiers, and I am from a German bloodline too. So it all kind of like the pieces fit together. Don't you guys get excited when you have some memory or something switches on in your life and you're like, oh, that makes sense. And it like starts to fit together and then you get more pieces. Like I've never felt so free. Like my life actually makes sense. The game actually makes sense to me. Like it's almost like I'm winning the game now that I know.
Yeah, for me, it's heartbreaking because it's always been battles. It's always been advocacy. It's always been, fighting against something.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? It is really heartbreaking that is hard. I'm still working to accept is that talking to beings that are currently higher frequency realms and places. Some of them are within our atmosphere. Some of them are without, like the Galactic Federation. There's like 500,000 planets, and they're in all different higher, lower, whatever. But talking to them, what's heartbreaking? There's still polarity in the fifth dimension. All the love and lighters. Let's just get to the fifth dimension, and the angels will be singing. We walk in streets and go, no, the reptilians are still coming. They are. They're still at play.
But they're here already too.
It's heartbreaking to me. The battles.
Yeah, they're interdimensional, so they're always going to be around. Yeah.
But they're on the planet. They're subterranean. Some of them. They're disguised as people.
Yes, absolutely.
You see what they want you to see. What they project.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people to hear that they have always been here. Not just hear that, not just hear now that, there's reptilians. It's like,
but some people have really good experience with reptilians. Is it some are good, some aren't, like people, some are good, some aren't.
It's like every single race. So, we could even talk about the German Nazi fleet. And
sure.
It's so interesting. Everyone's like, the Third Reich, honey bunnies. We're up to like the 12th Reich in like alternate timelines and dimensions now. And you think like, Third Reich's bad. Wait, yeah, you should talk to some of them from the 12th Reich. But even in the 12th Reich and in the Antarctic base and all these, people in the military and beings and Dracos and reptilians, we whitewash everything. The reptilians, like you're saying, Michelle, it's just like them saying all humans are evil, or all humans are good. Each of these beings have even clones somewhat, even though they're under programming. They've broken programming. Britney Spears' clone broke programming and made a song and said, I'm a clone. And they took out the line in the song she made that said, I'm a clone, because she broke programming. So even clones, and we see the movies where the AI, goes offline. But they all have free will. So there is that's part of this horrible 3D density is the polarity. She's good. He's bad. Draco bad, Palladian good. It's not true. It's individual, like you said, Michelle.
No, for sure. So because the whole, if for those who aren't versed in things like the Dark Fleet, there's a lot with that, but a lot of it is the alleged, draconian presence on, moon base, for example. And some people believe that people here are taken and brought up there to work, against their will, right?
Against their will. And there are many people there that, okay, so some of the reasons the veterans are so traumatized. I'm going to give you an example. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. We're not going to go way off into what the Vietnam War is really about, because it would blow your mind. We can talk about it sometime. But
they're all about something, aren't they?
They're all about something that they're not telling you.
That's right.
Vietnam War was actually about something off planet, which most people don't know. But we'll talk about that maybe sometime. Sure. But my dad went in to be debriefed before he came back to the States. And I asked him one time, I said, Dad, well, what happens? Like, I don't know. What do you mean when they debrief you? What does that mean? Listen to this carefully. He said, they took us in a room. They fed us this really great meal, and we signed some papers. That's not what happened. They took them in a room. They drugged them in their food, completely memory wiped them, probably gave them more, probably gave them some mental chair. Why no one likes the dentist? No one likes the dentist because they put you in the closest explanation. Have you guys seen Dollhouse? I think it was a Fox show a long time ago. That talks about the cloning where they put you back in the chair. It looks like a dental chair, and they put probes. Well, that's what they do. So anyway, I think that's what they did. I think they drugged them in the food, and then they memory wiped them, because my dad barely remembers anything about Vietnam. It's the weirdest thing, and he's totally numb when he talks.
How do you forget even the basics?
And he was an officer, and a high-ranking officer.
See, a doctor would turn around and say it's PTSD.
Yeah, created by the memory wiping and all the drugs and all the. Oh, I'll tell you something else mind-blowing. Now, I don't know. Some people can do this. I know I'm taking a lot, so of course I can do it. You can go on Amazon and you can get like a 30 drug tests, like lab drug tests that's medically viable for cocaine, Molly, marijuana, all these drugs, including mind-wiping drug, crystal meth, blah, blah, blah. And you can get up, pee in a cup, and you can test for drugs, even if you've never used a drug in your life. How? Because they bodily take you, or they come and mess with you in your house, in your bed, and they shoot you up with a lot of mind, like date rape drugs. What do? They make you woozy. You don't remember. Things aren't clear. So they use a lot of these drugs, when they're messing with certain people with abilities and that they're accessing, and they can actually be verified. I have a picture of one of those cups with mine spiked. And people, and it's embarrassing because you want people to say you're a drug user. And I've never used knowingly, an illegal drugs. But I do wake up with, needle marks. My massage therapist one time said, "Why do you have needle marks all over the upper part of your arm, like the back of your arm?" They always use my left arm. I'm like, time for
that's
that.
Just me. That's just me. I know. Now I was just saying hello to a friend. Hey, Renee, I could say it now. So I didn't think it was going to go all over the place. No, I mean, so we know that government would do something like that for sure. What's the most common ET that comes around? And do they do that? Do they need to do that?
There's a couple different groups. The mantoids are big groups. The actuarians, everybody says they're good. A lot of I don't want to paint all good or bad, but a lot of them are sold out and doing projects on humans. The Palladians, a lot of the Palladians, not all. There's some great. I have friends that are Palladians that are disseminating information and helping. So again, it's hard, just different groups. It depends on your bloodline, depends on your skill set, depends on the contracts you sign that you don't remember you signed. So there's a term called concealment. And what concealment means is it's a contract you signed out of free will. However, the cabal, darkness, polarity groups, lower density groups are pretty tricky. Yep. If you're being sexually tortured by a Draco or you're being made to kill a kid, you might sign anything to get it to stop, including saying the military can use me as long as I'm in this game for the next 1,000 years, whether you come back or not. So a lot of us as spirits have signed concealment contracts to different groups and multiple groups because a lot of us were taken to Langley. Everybody thinks Langley's training for the happy CIA. No, Langley is where they take very, very old, powerful spirits and they put you in the MK altar program when you're babies and they torture the crap out of you and split you into altars so they can use you whenever they want, daytime or nighttime programs. So, and then they take you to Montauk. A lot of you, I'm having a lot of resonance with you, Michelle. I think you and I have been in some of the same places.
I know. I'm versed.
So, and you've heard of the chair. There's all the projects that they have, with time and space. They use kids for the really, really psychic kids. So, just so much is going on.
I guess some of these people would be what they call, the black witches or the dark witches that are within the secret Illuminati secret society. I mean, they're just put through hell as children.
Absolutely.
Hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me that people just give up their children for this. But may not be a choice thing for sure. Whole other show. But
California fires, even the ones that are burning right now, the cabal knows it's the end of the game. It really is the end of the game. I know everybody's like, oh, QAnon, glory and hope and all this stuff. It's like because of the polarity, and I think you said it, Amelia, the battle culture. It's not cut and dry. It's not like one side wins or the other side wins. It's like constantly like this struggle. It's icky. You can feel it. Like I can feel it right now in the collective. But the cabal is burning their own bases in California with advanced technology. That's why the cars are crumbling. Everybody's like, it's the rod of God. It may be some of that. They may be using some of those advanced technologies that we know about, but they're doing it from underground. And they don't care. They have a scorched earth policy. They don't care about the top side. They never have cared about the top side, but they're burning their own bases to destroy the evidence. So the Alliance and some of the White Hats are going in and they're rescuing the kids in cages. They're rescuing the soldiers down there. They're rescuing as many people as they can and pulling them out. But it's there's a lot of conspiracies, as you would say, Amelia, about what's going on with all the fires. But I know in California right now, I know 100% because I know people under there that are pulling people out and pulling out evidence, even though a lot of it's destroyed by advanced technology. It's not even like a house fire where you can sift through. It's like just nothing.
There was a certain, let's just say there was a certain church in very popular church. I'm not going to put it all out there, but that burned to the ground.
Oh, yes.
Right. Probably for the same reason.
Yeah, same thing. They've been destroying a lot of their own monuments that have the underground.
That's right.
Relics and cages, and
it was a big one. And a lot of money came forward to rebuild. Very influential money to rebuild, which is always fascinating. But again, whole other show. So you had mentioned let's talk end times. You know what I'm noticing right now?
Okay.
As you're going to talk about revelations.
Sure.
That people right now, there's a huge division, of course, going on in the world. And people seem to be, it's almost like they're removing themselves from your life. I always say it's not everybody can go on your journey because it's not their time. And, people start sort of getting a little bit volatile, or the beliefs change. And somebody you thought you knew, and I'm not speaking personally, just saying, okay, I'm just, just the people I know who have made mention. And because I keep my circle small, people close to me, I keep close to me. Right. But I've heard people say, like, this well-grounded individual just lost his freaking mind, and I don't know what's going on. And I'm hearing more and more people say this, that all of a sudden these people are just dropping out of their lives because everything, you're becoming polar opposites of people. Is it the sign of the times, or is there something more coming?
I think part of it's due to the whiteouts and the high greenouts and the Schumann resonance. I have an app, so I just, whenever I feel a certain way, I'm like, it's either a whiteout or a heavy greenout, like when I can't sleep or when I'm really high, energized, and focused. We're getting outside assistance in frequencies where they're bombarding the planet, and the higher frequency people can pick them up generally. I'm not saying there's not some negative side effects, but we can generally embody them, pick them up, and use them to up level or upgrade. But the lower frequency people, it shatters them. They can't handle the purity and the crystalline, like, I don't know, one of the highest frequencies that we use as far as a gem in therapy is like a diamond, but a lot of people can't handle a diamond because a diamond has so much purification. If you can't handle the flood of darkness that crawls out and kind of overtakes you, if you can't process it fast enough, it buries you. So I think that's the same thing with these white outs, these super high frequencies coming in from off planet. I think it's a purification. People talk about the, separation, or the sheep and the goats, the wheat and the chaff, 3D and 4D density, the east and west gates. I don't know if you've heard all those terms.
Yeah.
But I think there is a separation. I don't think a certain frequency is going to go with us into the next version of the game if we're all still here playing. Personally, I really am. I might have signed up. I might have signed a million consignments, but I'm about done. I am not coming back here. I'm just telling everybody that.
Okay. Really, we all say that?
That's the one thing we all agree on, is just saying, I don't want to come back. Seriously.
No, it's true.
Last round in high school felt like I had done this 100 times before, and I was so bored.
You had that too. That's good.
I was so bored. It wasn't funny.
It's really tough. Because some people know it from early on. Also, you look at Wayne, who lives in the house here. He goes, I remember I being 4 years old. It was my birthday party, and all of a sudden I sat there and I went, "What the hell am I doing back? I'm in a kid's party," and he threw up. Yeah, he threw up. It's like being so little and being aware.
Yep.
Shit, I'm back. See, made it.
Hi, Wayne. He just got in. Your ears burning.
But so what is your thought then? Because a lot of people are looking at what's going on as a sort of end time or revelations that we're slowly going into it. I always believe that, unfortunately, if you've got everything written in a certain book, you're going to have the, powers that be try to make that move along. It just keeps the control going a little longer, prey on the belief system. What are your thoughts? Like, do you think we're just going to glide through this whole thing, or do you think we're in for rough waters?
It's a great question. I would really like us to glide through it. I'm contributing my energy to that happening as much as possible and always possible. However, I do know the next chapter, the next scene in their lovely little game movie is the false nuclear scare. So I know that they're going to activate they're planning on activating all the emergency broadcasts in all the countries and saying it's World War, III, and all the nukes are going off. Although I keep telling people, don't listen, don't panic, don't kill yourself, don't jump out windows. It's fake. It's not even if the cabal does it, they're not really doing it. However, there is a chance the dam in China will go down. There is a chance Hoover Dam will go down. Golden Gate is predicted to go down. Why? Those are portals. Those are offered portals the cabal has been using to traffic Dark Fleet and the Dracos and different things. There's a lot of things around the London Bridge. So you're going to see these big, it might be scary because you're going to see these big monuments that you guys have kind of been taught to like revere and worship go down, and it will be disconcerting, but it's really good that they're closing gates. I have a picture somewhere of the military thought it'd be a great idea. They found an open portal under the sea somewhere, and they thought it'd be a good idea to play around with it. And all these beings started coming through, these really dark, powerful beings, not even like Dracos and stuff. I mean, like more ancient beings, like way darker than that. And they're like, OMG, what do we do? And they let them loose on the earth. So then they started filling it in with sand. And then they sent like 50 warships to guard it. I have a picture of that. So there's so much going on in the world that you guys don't know. And it's on a spiritual, metaphysical plane. So this game, the 3D density is really the illusion. Everything that you think is solid and physical is the illusion. And everything else is the quote reality, that really where we should be playing, as far as if we want to change things. But the cool thing about that is when you understand how this game works, you can beat it and you can start not even co-creating your reality 100%, because you either do it intentionally or you do it unintentionally, create your reality. That means what job you want, how much money you have in your bank, who comes in and out of your life, what you do with your time. It becomes this magical. So everything here isn't horrible. Everything kind of has both sides to it, a positive and a negative, side of the coin.
So when you die, do you go into the light or do you go into the darkness? Because you go to the light, you're conditioned to go into the light, which means you're being recycled. Step into the darkness.
Michelle talk, because Michelle already knows everything. So I'm
just asking a question, but we do have to do a station ID.
So think about that. Think about that while I get this in there, though. You're listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and myself, Amelia Pisano, our special guest tonight, and we are having an eye-opening segment. Let me tell you, it's Dr. Kimberly McGeorge herself. She is so refreshing and so amazing tonight. We are live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM radio and on international public radio right now on YouTube. If you're tuning in and you have some questions, please join us in the chat room on YouTube, where I can address your questions, and hit the @Amelia Pisano Productions so my name comes up and I will see your question and I'd be glad to ask it. We are fully sponsored tonight and every night by the amazing people at Folgers Coffee. We love you. No one loves you more than Michelle and I. Thank you so much, Folgers, for all of your support.
That's right.
Okay, you can take it now.
So before we go to your pictures, we go to the light, which we're conditioned to go into, which we know are being recycled. Do we step out into the darkness? And is that where we're seeing time travelers and we're just, because we're free?
Yeah. So the whole light tunnel, the whole relative, the whole Jesus, the whole Buddha, the whole, whatever your religious beliefs, coming to meet you, angels, all a trap. Between lives, all a trap to make you feel guilty about karma, that you have to come back to fix things that you did and redeem yourself. We don't have enough time to go in the whole karma discussion.
Oh, come on.
Let's just say it's a trap. And I'll tell you what is better than just stepping in the void, which if that's all you know, turn away from any light. Although I think that's been deconstructed, although I have heard there are races that are imitating. So this was coming from the moon base. It was our technology that was our net that was recycling. But now other races are trying to. One of my daughters, actually between lives, my oldest daughter that sees spirits all the time, her last life was on a reptilian ship for hundreds and hundreds of years. She got captured in the in-between life and held on a reptilian ship. So we're not taught things like that can happen, but they can. So that's what her life was right before this one. Then the ship got attacked and they released her, and she got picked up by military, which brought her here. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But this is what I recommend to you guys. I'll tell you what I recommend. I don't know if it'll work, but I recommend it because you are all powerful. You are a conscious creator. So this is what you do. And I've taught all my children to do this already, and I teach my clients to do it. Just do it. You can do as many as you want, but start with one. So I've created, when I die, I'm not going dark or light. I have in my head, you can draw it, you can paint it, you can find pictures, you can do a board of it. But I have a little mountain thing with animals and bunnies and dogs and a cabin that I go to. My daughter has an island. She has a little hut even for me on an island. She says, Mom, you don't come visit it very often. Why? Because all time is now. So we can look into the future and see what happens on different timelines in the future because all time is now. But I recommend you create your fantasy place with your fantasy people, living, dead, whatever, alone, not alone, make up people. If you want a hot guy, want a hot woman, whatever you want, and you create the place and you go there. Because guess what's possible outside of here, you guys? Everything, anything. The void is the most amazing place. You came from the void. The void has all possibilities all the time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So create that possibility and hold that in your mind, and then you're going to go there. And then you can figure it out from there. If you get bored there after 2 years, you're like, I want to be a planet. I want to be an animal. I want to go hang out with the cetaceans. I want to be a dolphin. Like, you can change your mind. When you're free, you're not under a system. You're not under a program. And guess what? You guys can be free right now. I mean, people like these lovely ladies, we can teach you how to go out of body. We can teach you how to connect. We can teach you how to open. So I no longer super feel really trapped here because, and some of you guys have these abilities too that are listening to this. We have the ability to leave at any time. I can talk to you and I can go anywhere at the same time by locate.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's just working outside the realm of boundaries, really, because I think we we're conditioned. We're conditioned.
We don't even try because we don't know we can't.
Right. I'm going to see if Joe is available, and so we can look at some of your pictures because they're really interesting. He said, just text me. I'm like, okay.
I find you fascinating. I do. I
think everybody is.
Yeah, I could listen to you for a long time.
You guys are so sweet. You guys are the best energy. You bring it out. Like, this is just a very positive, supportive environment. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we try to, we really get complimented on the fact that everything is so laid back. People come on being really nervous because we do have a really large listenership. And it's like, it's going to be a walk in the park, you'll see. And everybody just like, God, it was just so relaxed. And like last night, our guests, we just put them through. What did we put them through? Like how many questions? Just bam, bam, bam,
18. Yeah, but they've been on so many times.
I know. They're just, they're so much fun.
Lightning round. And I gave them about, it ended up being 20 questions because I added 2 of them while we were doing them.
Oh, wow. That sounds fun.
It was fun because I think you need to break that ice because they're new to television, not new, but second season and new to the radio tours and the promotion, the junkets, right? So it was a nice way to break the ice without getting too personal.
That's right. People want to know you guys, right? So, okay. So we're going to go to the pictures, and thank you, Joe, for manning the fort back there. So we'll let you take it away and let us know when you want us to switch.
Can we make that photo bigger, Joe?
So this is an interesting little story. So I was looking at 11 acres it was on Sourtown Mountain near where I live. And I knew at the time that there was a deep underground military base under this mountain, but it was really pretty and it had a view of the mountains. So I'm like, no big deal. So my daughter and I, my youngest daughter and I were out looking at the property, and she goes, Mom, there's a man in the woods, because you could hear like all these sticks breaking and people walking, and it sounded like really heavy walking. Mm-hmm. So I started videoing. And this is one of the pictures. I told her it's not a man. I said, there are things in the woods. I can feel them. I think I know what they are, but we're just going to calmly walk to the car. But first, Mommy's going to take some pictures because I'm not going to miss this opportunity. So she like ran to the car, but I took some pictures and then we left because this was one of those creepy things where you knew it wasn't all good things. So I pulled this out of the video that I took that day. And lo and behold, to me, it looks freaking like a white rabbit wearing a jacket, holding something in its hand if you guys blow it up. One of the most fascinating things I've ever come across, because we don't think that animals from other realms, which they do, act differently than animals in this realm. So it was a very interesting picture.
Absolutely. Let's see those little ears. Widen your screen, zoom in.
That's me for Jessica. So I can't see her very good. Like, I know she's on her laptop, so I'm like, just widen the screen.
Yeah, I always tell them, take a screenshot and at your leisure, when you have some time, blow it up. I mean, of course, it distorts it, which is hard, but then sometimes you can see better if you don't like over.
Yeah. And if you're if you're watching our show on your cell phone, you're not going to get a good shot. That's going to be small. You have to turn your phone sideways.
Yeah, and I took it on my phone, so it wasn't even on my video camera, right?
Yeah.
And then also, if you guys have the site, there's also other beans in there, but you kind of have to have the site to see them. So for those of you that, yes, I know. Sometimes people write me and they're like, there's other things in there. And I'm like, I know, but I don't want to confuse you. We'll go with the easiest thing.
Yeah, you can see. You can see.
Okay, so you can get that's about it on that.
Okay, next one. Thank you. Right there. I see those two.
So this is from my property, and again, everything's by frequency for me. So I feel frequency, and then I take a picture, whether I see or not. I
There's two little faces in there.
Yeah, I did see these beans. So to me, they're obvious. And this is how you guys can look, because they're not just in woods. They do like to hang out places they can hide, but they can be in, like, you could have a 1/10 of an acre and they could be on your property. So one of the ways I teach people to look for cryptid beings is to look for the dark spots. And especially if you know your yard and you know where there's not a dark spot, then take a picture if there is one and look at it later. Like, what can it hurt,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this house has produced all kinds of interesting things just like that. Okay, next. I like that picture. It's awesome.
Last one looked like
lunch.
Yeah, so this was one I actually saw. The sunlight obviously was kind of coming behind it, and I actually saw it with my eyes and snapped a picture. And my son-in-law can see cryptids really well, and he's like, that's a really good one. So, and we don't know exactly what these beans are. Some people would call them Bigfoot. I don't really think they fit the category. I mean, are they projecting? Maybe. I don't know what they are. I don't have all the answers. I'm still investigating and exploring.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Next, please. Nope, there we go.
So this goes with another picture, but I wanted to show you the original picture. So I'm sitting on my deck, and this tree is right in front of me on a sunny day. And I am like, is that a freaking monkey? And then I enlarged it.
Like that freaking monkey.
Well, because come on, it's North Carolina, people. Like, you don't expect. So we do have the enlarged picture, I think. I don't know if it's the next one,
but hopefully they.
Let me see.
Hopefully they're following each other there.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh wow. Okay.
What a professional. So that was the enlarged.
It's like a little Chewbacca.
Yeah, like a little, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's a little Chewbacca.
I mean, tell me that's pareidolia. Come on, I dare you, say that.
I know.
Pareidolia. I always tell people, if someone has to tell you what you're looking at, it's pareidolia.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is quite obvious.
Yeah, I was like, and everybody, and then I showed it to some people, and they're like, no, that's a chimpanzee in your tree. I'm like, believe me, I do not have a
chimpanzee. Yeah,
no,
well,
I
you would
do not.
know. They're so common to look at, even if it's not native to your area. Everybody knows what a chimpanzee looks like.
And it would have been like acting up and moving and chattering, and this wasn't quite so active. Which also, they don't. Sometimes I do believe sometimes these beings do want to be seen by me. They do want a relationship, and this one appears quite often. It's not a one-time thing. Actually,
Dave says it looks like a Grim Reaper. A little bit of a furry one, though.
Yeah, furry.
It's a little furry.
That doesn't look like a
They don't usually sit out in trees either, though.
No.
They're
All
usually
right,
quite
next,
close.
Please.
Yeah, I don't know what else we got. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, this is a good story. So this is going to be a little trickier, and I'll tell you why. Because, I'll just tell you the story. So I was coming out of a hardware store in my small town, and I'm followed quite a lot just because of me. And I thought this woman had a weird vibe behind me. So I went, I pulled over to the right and let her go around me. She went right out of the parking lot, and I went left. And I went to get a drink at this little tiny fast food restaurant, not like a McDonald's, but like a local fast food place. And I pulled through their drive-through, and I saw their sign, and it said close. They closed like the half hour before. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go home. So I look in my rearview mirror, and it's the woman in the white car that I had already tried to dodge. Remember, she went right, I went left because I had a weird feeling about her. And I'm like, oh, honey bunny, we aren't playing this game. I know who you are. And so I pulled over again and forced her to go in front of me, because otherwise she would have been really obvious if she hadn't, like, really stupid. And so she pulled in front of me. I followed her to a stop sign. I saw who she was because I felt who she was, which was a MIB Draco reptilian type. And I took this picture behind her in my car in her rearview mirror. So that's why it's so.
Almost looks like a gray, though. Look at those big dark eyes in the middle.
It's like a hybrid. I think it's a lot of the men in black are not. Well, a lot of them are robotoids, but a lot of them are like Draco grays. But they're not. It's not like a pure gray. It was pretty big.
Right. But, no. I mean, I'm looking at it. It looks like it's a fair size. So I'm just looking at the shape of the head and eyes.
It was like a blonde woman, avatar. This is how we know. So when you have the ability to see frequencies, I'm able to see, and my second daughter has this ability. She can read souls, and she draws like soul pictures and soul language. It's kind of like that. I can tell by frequency who's inside. Whether it's one of the more normal races like a Nordic or a Palladian, or whether it's one of the more reptilian mantoid gray races. I have another picture too from a couple weeks ago of a similar one that drove by my house. I can just tell. So I take their picture, and you know what they do? It's hilarious. They're on to me now. They put down their side things even when it's not sunny, so I can't take their picture, because I have pictures of claws, big long arms and claws wrapped around steering wheels, and all sorts of cool pictures of them. But they know sometimes I take their pictures, so they put down their side thing to block me from taking their picture.
That's hilarious. So, like, do they just end up strolling by your place, or is it just by chance?
Well, I'm on a list. I have the Air Force flies over me. I have black helicopters. I've got the whole bit, because I'm a military asset. So they want to make sure I don't go off the range too far. And they want to make sure I know that they know that I know that they're watching to keep me alive. But my children are grown. I always said, once my children are grown, I don't really care what happens to me. I want to get the truth out there.
Right. All right. Next picture, please. Oh, there we go.
This is one of my very, 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 very favorite, because it was like one of the most heart-stopping, amazing moments in my entire life. I'm laying in bed. I'd only lived in this house a week. I'm laying in bed, and my alarm goes off, and it says person side yard. And of course I'm like, oh, and I brought up the security camera, and I was like, double heart-stopping moment, because in North Carolina we have legends, and we also have evidence of a class of fae called the Little People. And they're
we have them here too. Yeah.
Okay, you do. Oh,
yes, yeah.
So Little People are about 1.5 feet. And I called the company the next day, and I said, can you look at this picture? would this make the security alarm go off? And she's like, yeah, because it's a proportionate person. We go by like measurements of proportions. It's not like height, because you have to be able to identify whether it's a 4-foot child or whether it's a 7-foot man. They go by like head, neck, shoulder. You know what I'm talking about? Like the measurements between.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna go look in the photo.
So I actually thought I'd be able to see this with my eyes. So I went out there. It was raining. This figure actually stood outside my door for 3 nights. And I thought I could see him with my eyes, but I couldn't. But I went out and I talked to him anyway. And I really feel like he was coming, introducing himself, saying, there's little people around here. We're here for you. We're going to look out for you. You look out for us. And so I have like a lot of pictures of this because he was here for 3 nights,
right,
standing outside my door.
Now that's really interesting. That, you know, the little people tend to be a really big Native American legend, you know, like communities of them. It's fascinating, but very fascinating to see the photo. Wow. Next one, please. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, this is another thing where I got alerted to person on my security camera. And I'm like, oh, it's a bug. And I almost deleted it. And then I'm like, why are the bugs holding hands? I said, those kind of look like fae to me. So I don't know if they're bugs. Might be bugs holding
look like
hands.
there's a couple.
They might be fairies. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't think bugs generally hold hands. They might. I don't think so.
Know. Praying mantis, maybe. No.
But I'm, you know, I'm not 100%. You know, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I know there's fae around here. Like I said, the pixies move my pictures all the time. But
yeah.
Who knows? It's a cool picture. It's so cool. I've had like 30 people have stolen it and posted it as their own, and everybody's like, "Doesn't that make you mad?" I'm like, "Not really," because I have the original copy. So if anything really had to be proven, like,
We're advertising it for you. Who cares?
I'd rather the truth get out there if there's, you know, a picture of something.
Well, you never know who'll find it. Someone may have something similar, you know.
Oh, that's true too. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good way of connecting.
Never know.
People. I mean, sometimes I'll put my name on it because people tell me to, but usually I'm like, I don't care. You can steal my picture.
Right. Next one, please. Oh, are we done? Nope. There we go. Okay.
Oh, I love this. This is you guys have got to blow this up. There's so many creatures in this picture, but we'll just go with the main one. So in the middle, there's a black little figure. And again, I got the frequency of little person / fae / troll. And if you blow it up, it looks like a troll carrying a baby across this creek.
At first, I would have thought maybe this was a crow, but you know what? You're right. It looks like a little person. When you blow it up, it looks like a little dude of some sort. So little legs. Interesting. Okay, next one. Oh, all right.
No, this is so this is my screen, just, you know, with the little so I was sitting at my kitchen table looking through the screen, and I'm like, is that a face on the tree? And so that was the far away one, and then there's a closer one.
There's the one to the right. Just yeah, a little bit. Oh, where'd you go? No, that was me struggling with the broadcast earlier. It's not the one. No, but you're right. There are a couple of them in there. Was that the last one? Yeah, it has to be the last one.
I think I gave you the close-up.
14. I don't know that I have any close-up of it.
Maybe not. It didn't load.
No.
Hold on.
No, going through them all.
Yeah,
there it is. Okay, yeah.
Yep. So I'm like, that is definitely some kind of spirit, animalish, alien nature spirit, something or other.
Yeah, see, when I look at that, I see two. I see one just right up over the head as well.
Right.
But that really does look like a tribal individual.
I agree with you. And this land is well, I live on 4 acres. It's on a quartz bed. So I live in the woods on a quartz bed at the bottom of a quartz mountain.
Right. Oh, quartz.
I get a lot of
quartz and limestone. Yeah. Yep, and running water.
And, yep, that's it.
That's
so I get a lot of
stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Now there was one. Okay, here we go. Let's go with that one.
Oh yeah. So this is from the same and again you guys have to blow it up. But other people would call them Sasquatch. I don't know that they're Sasquatch, but they're in that family. They're in the cryptid family. So if you blow it up, you can see some figures. That's from the same land that the rabbit was on.
Right. That's at the when you look straight down, right at the 12 o'clock mark, right? Other end,
Yes.
that black figure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. You guys have to maybe screenshot that so these guys can
Yeah. Most of these you're going to have to screenshot and blow up because they were on my phone. Oh, this was a dark. This was, again, I thought this was an interesting looking being creature-ish thing. But again, you see those two narrow, you have to remember, this is my wood. This is from my woods that I live on, that I've lived on for 8 months, that I intimately know right around my house. I don't know all 4 acres, but I do know where the trees are and the shadow play and stuff around my house. So this is right outside my house. There's 2 thin trees in the black. So obviously I'm going to notice when there's a figure standing there. So I took this picture because it was an anomaly. It didn't belong there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess, I think with frequencies, like it feeds them easier for them to manifest with certain frequencies. That's for sure. It definitely assists them. And you do a lot of frequency work, so the whole, property is probably supercharged. So,
That's a good point. I run frequencies all the time, right? True.
For sure. Well, you do. You work with, with frequencies. I mean, eventually that's going to be a really big part of your environment. Like you bring that in. That's like it feeds them. It's energy.
That's a really good point.
Is that the last one? Is there another one there, Joe? Are we done? We're still looking?
I think I don't remember. There's not too many more.
There was 14. I think we've got them. I think we've got the last one. Okay. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thanks for getting those together. I know it was kind of last minute.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. I'm still feeling my way around this. I'm just like, what the heck? I couldn't even get the show started. It goes, do this. It won't let me. So everything else was just like, help me. So, but oh my gosh, it's hard. It's hard to believe we're practically at 11 o'clock now, and it's like went by so fast. We're definitely going to have to do this again because you're just a lot of fun. You're a wealth of information.
You need more time. You need more time.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So this is a part of the show where you tell everybody what you have coming up, promote yourself, how to find you.
Oh, how kind. Thank you. Secrettoeverything.com is the easiest way. If you need to talk to me about something that's not on there, you can write support@KimberlyMcGeorge.com, or we have a form on secrettoeverything.com. My dogs are so timed. They know it's been 2 hours. They're like, your teeth, so they get you all squidgely. So with lots of free classes on there, lots of free stuff that you can poke around. Secret to Everything by Kimberly McGeorge is my YouTube. It's Serene Wellness on Twitter, Secret to Everything Facebook. We have a live event coming up. I think there's 5 or 10 spots. We're almost sold out in Sedona next November. Excellent. It's going to be highly experimental. We're going to go to a ghost town. We're going to go to a relic site. We're going to have trauma healing. We're going to do the vortexes. We're going to do all sorts of things. So if you're interested in that, we have monthly groups on different levels where we talk about a lot of this stuff, a lot of the woo-woo stuff, a lot of the basic stuff. Like I said, I'm running a thing right now, the difference between reals, clones, and sims in my monthly group. We're on part 2. So just check us out. We're really available and we're really responsive. You can get a scan on there, but I'd love to give you guys, if you invite me back, I'd love to do live.
Absolutely will be inviting you back.
Definitely. It would be really interesting. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely. It would be a pleasure to have you back. And it's such a pleasure having you join us. And thank you for that. It was hard. There's so much information coming. I'm just like, okay, wait, I got to rewind for a second. Okay, no, wait, I want to know this too.
Great. You guys have energy so beautifully. And I love
you're a big part of that. The energy collectively between the 3 of us has been really, really smooth and beautiful.
I loved it. You guys are just fabulous.
Thank you.
I kind of want to interview you. Like I have so many questions. Like, how did you guys meet? Like, what do you guys do? But I know.
The meeting question. Michelle will have to send you the link to the Joe interviewed us.
Yeah. We gave up the reins to the show one time. It was just like, what was he going to ask us? So it was really well done. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll definitely do it. So thank you so much for joining us.
I loved it.
I'll be in touch. I'll message you and we'll reschedule.
Sorry, everybody in the chat room, my mind was blown. I can't believe what I heard. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they've all
great feedback there.
And I'll be happy to share too. I'll promote you guys too. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, we'll get you a link to the show.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Have a good weekend. Be safe.
You too.
Stay well.
Thank you, Kimberly. Well, we have come to the end of another fantastic segment here on the Outer Realm. Wow, mind blown would be an understatement. So again, a huge thank you to Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. Wow. Big thank you to Joe Montaldo for stepping in and getting those photos up for us. Huge thank you again to Folgers Coffee for just having faith in us and sponsoring us and, want to do right by them. Lord only knows they do right by us. So thank you for that. So remember to stop by International Public Radio and subscribe over on YouTube. While you're over doing some subscribing, head on over to the Outer Realm on Facebook. Please follow us. We do try to get as much content as possible. Amelia's right on top of that. If you have any show ideas, you like the show, you don't like the show, you want a guest, you want to be a guest, hit us up on the Outer Realm Contact at gmail.com. Again, the Outer Realm Contact at gmail.com. Next week brings 2 more amazing guests. For the first time ever, and you may have seen him in chat tonight, is Dave Petrella, and he's going to be talking astrology and probably a whole lot of other amazing stuff. We just watch him in chat and we had to snag him. Thursday night welcomes back Bill Bungay, owner of the infamous Black Monk House in the UK. But this time he's going to be coming along with some colleagues. He has done a new film that is getting rave reviews, and he's going to be covering that, or all 3 of these gents will be covering that. So it's sure to be a lot of fun. So don't forget Joe Montaldo and I on the Gray Zone Uncensored this Saturday. So it's 5 to 7 p.m. Central, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I can't tell you what we're going to talk about. Not allowed to do that. But oh my goodness, I can tell you it's going to be really, really fun. So until then, Amelia and I thank you for tuning in this week. Have a wonderful night, safe weekend, and we will see you next week.